Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rak HaKodash. That's the Paleo Hebrew praising of the Father, heaven and earth, right? In the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, whom this world ignorantly called God, and Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. So, we all know Proverbs 11:1, a false balance is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. And Proverbs 20:23, diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good, right? So there's other precepts that support those statements, right? So being that that's the case, I rose early this morning, this AM I should say, and I came across an article that said this. It said that JP Morgan Chase to start charging PayPal, Venmo, Coinbase, and others for customer account data after years of free access. So this is the report, right? So basically, based upon the title, you already see where we're going with it. So JP Morgan Chase and other types of banks, they all got the same structure, but they've been charging, they've been giving free access to our data, right? What would be our data? Our identifying information, social security number, our name, birth date, address, where we live. All of these things are very valuable to these companies, right? So that's basically what the article goes into. So now they're gonna start charging, Coinbase, Venmo, PayPal, and others, right? Like retail institutions, places we shop, for our information, right? So that's what's going on. So I said, look, how is that fair to the consumer or the customer, right? You and I, whose data is being traded, and we're not even benefiting from it, right? I mean, sure, they have some very minimal incentives, but still, the most valuable piece to this whole thing is our information, right? That we use, right? So I was like, let me go to ChatGPT, put this article in, because I had an issue with a statement that I saw in here. All right, so let's find it. Besides them, it says here that the companies use the information to make it easier for their customers to send, receive, and trade money, right? So if they're using the information, right, why are not the customers receiving more of an incentive, a kickback, a profit sharing mechanism? So I had ChatGPT draft something, so I'll let you see it here. So this is what I typed into ChatGPT. I said, JP Morgan Chase to start charging PayPal, Venmo, Coinbase, and others for customer account data after years of free access report. So I'll put the link in, and I said, I have concerns about the context of this article, namely the sentence that expresses that essentially companies use bank provided data to make it easier for customers to transact with them. Objectively, I think that customers should reap a new form of direct compensation from banks and retail companies, seeing as though our data is so valuable. Draft a profit share proposal that levels trade and benefits all parties involved. So it says here's a profit share data usage proposal that addresses your concerns about customer data exploitation and proposes an equitable solution where banks, fintechs, and customers all benefit from the value of consumer financial data. Because I mean, they housing and furnishing data, right? Our data, so they taking custody. But it's like, okay, if you custodying my information, and then you're trying to at this point sell it. I mean, we know they've been doing stuff like this anyway, but I just think like a proposal like this would be a fair balance, right? A just balance, because it's not me trying to pull them out of the fire and like that, but it's just holding them accountable. And so here it is. I just scroll through it. I'll just read the headers, and you can screenshot it if you want, or you can even type the prompt into ChatGPT yourself and get the same exact results. But I feel like these institutions, they need to receive a copy of this, moving forward. If doing anything that way, you have a little bit more financial stability, moving forward. So yeah, consumer financial data profit sharing proposal, right? So you see it right there that you fill out your information right there, the title and everything. Number one, background and purpose, right? So it says here, in recent years, financial institutions and fintech companies have gained immense value from consumer financial data, using it to facilitate seamless transactions, improve service offerings, and develop targeted financial products. While this data is extracted from individual customers, the primary beneficiary has traditionally been the institutions, not the data originators, which were the customers. Boom, there it is right there, right? So you can read the rest of that, whatever. I'll go to section 2. All right. 2, objective: to establish a mutual compensation model between banks, data consumers, customers, data originators. Right, that's section 2. Section 3 would be proposed structure: a data licensing fee paid by data consumers to banks. Right, data consumers like PayPal, Venmo, Coinbase, etc. will pay a tiered licensing fee based on API, call volume, data type, and usage category, e.g. KYC, fraud prevention, analytics. Bullet point 2, JP Morgan and other banks will act as data custodians and aggregators. B, consumer dividend pool: 25 to 35% of gross licensing revenue will be deposited into a consumer dividend pool. Bullet point 2, each customer whose data is used contributes a measurable share based on data volume and frequency. Bullet point 3, dividends are dispersed monthly or quarterly via cash payments, fee reductions, reward points, tokenized credits. They mentioned blockchain there. That, ChatGPT just kind of threw that in, but I guess and that right there is very telling, based upon the fact that they're mentioning new payment rails and cryptocurrency framework, right? All right, so let's go to 4, transparency and auditing. This is the key point right here. Transparency and auditing: an independent third-party auditor will verify revenue, data usage, and dividend distribution. Now, if you don't have a solid independent third-party auditor, you could have one that is compromised. But if you have a way to do it digitally, that may help, because a lot of data is digital. So if you can have like an actual online objective third-party auditor, it would be fair. All right. All right, bullet point 2, annual transparency reports will be published and accessible to all stakeholders. That's their transparency, right? So you can see exactly where where the reports are, that way you see what's going on, and it's gonna, the profit sharing pool, so stakeholder, you are a stakeholder anyway. So you should have been had access to this data. But because they know look into these things, hey, they say if you don't know your rights, you have none. So if you don't know you actually got money left on the table, then you don't have it. Because guess what? Power of attorney, things of that nature, right? They just take full advantage of you. Ignorance, right? If you ignore things, hey man, you get taken advantage of. So number 5, benefits to consumers: direct compensation for the use of their financial behavior and account metadata, increased awareness and control, incentivize participation in open banking ecosystems. So this goes to the banks right here. Additional revenue stream from monetizing consumer permission data. And when I say to banks, I mean like this is going to be sent to them, so for the banks, I should say, increase customer trust and loyalty through transparency and fairness, right? Regulatory compliance advantages via consumer-centric data governance. And I need you guys to remember something about this presentation. This is not financial advice. Seek a financial advisor or professional, right, before making any decisions. All right, so that's my disclaimer as far as this is concerned. As far as who you're going to send this stuff to, because this is all really one document, right? So you just, like I say, punch it up in ChatGPT and get yourself a PDF of this, and make sure you send it to your financial institutions if you decide to, because allegedly you're not getting your share of the profits that's generated from these banks. All right, so to fintechs, bullet point 1, sustained access to valuable customer data streams. Bullet point 2, greater customer participation and retention through profit sharing incentives. Bullet point 3, reduce regulatory risk through ethical data sourcing. Number 6 is implementation timeline, right? So the time frame would be 3 to 6 months, small scale tests with opt-in customers in one fintech. 6 to 9 months, data analysis, user feedback, stakeholder adjustment. Time frame 9 to 18 months, full implementation with multi-institution upgrade or integration. And section 7 is regulatory compatibility. This framework complies with U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau guidelines on data sharing. Bullet point 2, GDPR and California Consumer Privacy Act, data usage standards. Bullet point 3, open banking principles under global financial modernization reforms. All right. Number 8, request for collaboration. So like it. We seek your partnership in launching this new standard for ethical data monetization. We invite financial institutions, data consumers, and regulators to jointly refine and implement this equitable model, right? Because at this you'd be expressing your equity, right? You know, you have this word called equality, right? Which is the fair balance. So this would be expressing your equity, right? Formally, you know, for inquiries or formal discussion, contact you, you know, and you know, or your business, and then you would provide your email address, your mailing address. So, like I say, this is something where you can put together your PDF, right? And that'll be it, man. So, yeah. Hey, a false balance is abomination to the Lord, man. So, being that we're the apple of his eye, man, we want what's ours, right? So, there's a way to go about doing things, you know, in a formal manner, in a peaceable manner, right? So, if you can help it, you know, be peaceable among all men, right? But they won't deal with you as a man. They'll deal with you as a business or entity, because that's what your identification is anyway, you know. So you're just data, you know. Your credentials are your data. That's like your little business that they gave you when you were born. So, all right. So with that being said, you know, they won't like it, and likely you might get a little pushback, but you know, yet and still, you know, do all things, you know, in decency and order, right, and all manners, right. So they have no choice but to respect it, because they know that they need you, you know. They always have. So just know that, you know, you're more valuable than you realize. So with that being said, shalom.